Hi, it's Alaska Granny. I'm out at Granny Camp, which is my Alaska off-grid cabin. Today I wanted to discuss 5 things that preppers can do to get ready for what's coming next. There have been a lot of changes in our world in the last year, starting with the coronavirus COVID-19 pandemic, which has shut down our economy. It's stopped people from going to school. Many people have lost their jobs. We've had all kinds of changes in the last year, which no one would have predicted that our world could change so quickly. There's also an election coming up, and the rhetoric is extremely negative. People have been talking negatively about our leaders, the police, our school systems, the post office, and just about every level of our daily lives. What's the future going to hold? We don't know. You combine the current politics and coronavirus pandemic with the natural occurrences of things like hurricanes, tornadoes, floods, crop failures, earthquakes. There are all kinds of natural disasters that occur all over the world every single year, and maybe some of those have affected your community this year. There are still things we can do, ways we can prepare to have the best possible outcome in our lives going forward. The first thing you can do is stock up on food. You need to have a stockpile of short-term and long-term foods. Short-term would be foods that you have in your pantry, canned goods, packaged goods, things that you eat on a normal everyday basis. Have several months worth of that. Then you should stock up on some long-term food. Things like rice, beans, oatmeal, foods that are designed and packaged to put away and last for decades. Think about if there's a secondary location when you could also stash some food so that if for some reason you had to bug out and leave your home, you'll still have a stash of food somewhere. And should you need to bug out, make sure you have a bug out bag. A bug out bag is also called a 72-hour kit. It includes all of the emergency supplies you would need to survive and take care of yourself for 72 hours or 3 days or several days until either you can figure out what to do next or help can come and help you. You need a variety of supplies in your bug out bag just like you do in your home. You need some food, water, some first aid gear, a few hygiene supplies, tools, maybe a way to start a fire, a warm change of clothing, and other essentials without going overboard so that your bug out bag is too heavy for you to grab and go. I'll put a link to a video I made about how to update your bug out bag, and it'll go through each of the areas and the types of things that you want to include. Next, you need to make sure that you have some water. No matter the emergency, people need water. You need at least 1 gallon per person per day for as many days as possible. You can buy bottled water at the store. You can fill up clean, empty containers. You can buy jugs and even water barrels. Whether you're purchasing water or filling up your own containers, if you're filling them up from a source of water that's already safe to drink, you don't need to worry about doing anything else. Fill up your container, put on the lid, and put it away in a cool, dark, dry place. Should the water in your home become contaminated or stop running and you've used up all your bottled water, you need to have a way to filter and purify water that you might get from another source. Don't just get a water filter like a Brita. That's meant for just removing chlorinated smells. You need something that actually purifies your water, something like a Berkey water filter or a Life Straw that actually removes all of the contaminants, the viruses, the bacteria that make water unsafe to drink. Learn ways to purify water, from boiling it to adding tablets. Learn some of those skills and ideas so that you know what to do should you face that situation. The next topic is shelter, ways that you can harden your home so that you can make your home, your locks, your windows, your security safer and better. You can do things like add deadbolts, but then be sure you use them. You can add long screws into the door jambs so that people can't just kick in your door. There are also plates that you can get where the doorknob is that make the door jamb stronger and more secure. You can get security systems. You can even get little gadgets from the Dollar Tree that for $1 you can put on your windows and doors, turn them on, and they emit a loud sound if someone should try to enter your home. Try something as simple as adding a stick in the track of a sliding window. And if your windows can be lifted out, you can also place a dowel or a stick across the top, insert it into the top frame of the window. You'll know it's there and you can remove it, but somebody else can't lift it out to try to get into your home. Put up some outside lights, keep your bushes trimmed away from your windows, so make sure you have smoke alarms and fire extinguishers that are up to date and ready to use. What if you needed to leave your home? Do you have a tent, a tarp, even black plastic bags and some paracord so that you could rig up some sort of an emergency shelter? Maybe you want to consider a life tent and a life bivvy from Go Time Gear. They're lightweight and sturdy emergency shelters that can go easily into your car, your bug out bag, and can be a part of your emergency survival stockpile. In a lot of emergencies, first aid is critical. Make sure you have a well-stocked first aid kit. You can buy one that's ready-made. You can go even to the Dollar Tree and buy all the different kind of components. Just make sure that you have a wide variety of all of the different categories of a great first aid kit. I'll put a link to a video I made about all of the different categories and the things that you would want to include in a top-notch first aid kit. What if your lights go out? Your power is out. What are you going to do now? Do you have flashlights? Do you have emergency lanterns? Do you have some candles? And if so, do you have matches? Maybe you have oil lamps. Do you have the fuel, the wicks, and a way to light them? Do you have some kind of a camping stove so that you can heat up your food? There are a lot of different items that you can have in your lights out kit. Everything from flashlights with extra batteries, glow sticks, headlamps, oil lamps, candles. There are a wide variety of supplies that should be in your lights out and your emergency cooking kit so that you can provide those things for your family in times of need. You want to diversify your prepping supplies into many different areas. You need food, you need water, you need tools, you need security, you need all kinds of different categories of items to make sure that you have the best outcome no matter the situation. So look over your prepping supplies and ask yourself, do I have the things I need? What do I do to protect myself? Who could I call in times of need? As our world becomes more dangerous, it's all the more critical that you keep your prepping supplies and your movements, your plans to yourself. We don't know who's listening. We don't know what they want. We don't know who they're talking to or how we're being judged. It's time for operational security. We're living in dangerous times and people are being judged for having prepping supplies. They're being called hoarders. They're being judged as selfish when all we're trying to do is ensure that we have the things we need to provide for our families. Just as we choose to prepare, people choose not to. And we don't vilify those who don't. In fact, we usually try to encourage others so that the more of us who prepare, the better off we all will be. But that response is not being returned in kind. Pay attention to the events that are unfolding in the news, especially the area around where you live. We need to pay attention to what's going on so we can do the best we can to take care of ourselves and our families. Leave a comment on what you think about these 5 things that preppers can do, and if you have other suggestions to help us stay safe in an uncertain world. If you enjoyed my video, I hope you'll share it with someone else who might like it. Learn more at alaskagranny.com, and please subscribe to the Alaska Granny channel.